Good afternoon. I'm in the book of Daniel today. I want to talk to you, of course, about the last days. And the book of Daniel has a lot of very, very clear instructions about the last days that a lot of other books don't have. It's in the book of Daniel that some people say that it talks about the Nephilim. It's over in chapter 2. I looked it up the other day. I mistakenly said it was in chapter 7, but it's in, I'll look it up here for you, 243 is where it's talking about that shall mix himself with the seed of men. And I'm thinking that's in another place too. I can't remember exactly where that is, but we are definitely in the last days. I want to talk to you a little bit about that. Because Daniel is very clear about the last days, and some of his prophecies are more clear than others, and I know that the book of Revelations and the book of Daniel, if you read one, it'll seem like it's talking about the same thing but in a different order. Now I believe God did that on purpose because he don't want the devil to know when his stuff is coming. See, if he wrote everything out in here exactly, if he laid it down, and God could have done that. He could have done everything exactly just the way that it's coming. He could have written it down and put it in the Bible. But see, the devil is such a big liar that he would claim this stuff is his. He would do something to fool people, to cause them to think that all of this stuff that's happening belongs to him, or is just coincidental. And so God hid these things in his word, so when they come, we have no choice but to believe that it is God, because God is the one that is the author of the Bible. Now I read the King James Version because I believe it's the closest to the original scriptures. The original scriptures, not being in English, had to be translated. And some people believe that, well, since it's translated, it's lost something. No, it hadn't lost anything. See, because Jesus knows how to speak English as well as he does Hebrew, Latin, Greek, or any other language on the face of this planet. And when he interprets something through the Spirit, it's interpreted perfectly. You know, people trying to say that God can't preserve a few words on a page. This is the same God that put the earth in its place, created every creature on here. Men still don't know how many, with all the technology that we have, men still don't know how many creatures are creeping upon the face of this planet. There is being more discovered every day. Every place they look and every place they turn, there's a new creature that it's quite possible that God might still be creating them. So man will never catch up with God, no matter how much technology that he gets or how smart that he thinks he is. But I want to read you something that's very clear. This is in Daniel 7:25, and I want to read 25 through 27, just a couple of verses here. And speaking about the Antichrist, it says, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High," that will be God, "and shall wear out the saints of the Most High," that would be the Christians, "and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times, a dividing of times." That's 3.5 years. In other words, the Bible's telling us here that the Antichrist is going to rule. He's going to fool the world into believing there's something other than the 10 Commandments that man you can rule man's heart with. He's going to speak in a way that is going to fool the whole world here. And verse 26 says, "But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it to the end. And the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him." Now, a lot of people don't know that that's in the Bible. All they talk about is tribulation, bad things coming. But the Bible said right there in Daniel 7 that the Christians are going to rise up and take over the Antichrist and his kingdom. At the very end, they're going to whip this fella. They're going to take back what God has given to us. And when we see things like this in the Bible, we can't just ignore the fact of what's happening here on the earth, prevalently around us. How that our present administration here in America is steadily dwindling toward another way. I have people argue with me online all the time. They say, you can't tell me you can't be a good person without being a Christian. I know plenty of sinners that are good people. They're immoral people, but they're nice to you, at least to your face. I had a brother-in-law that's one of the nicest people you ever want to meet. And I've got a son-in-law right now. He's nice to your face, but inside of his heart, he is captured by perversion, just like my brother-in-law was. And that's what I'm talking about. There is nothing right or wrong. I put a challenge out to you today. If you can think of one thing, let's do this. Come up with your own 10 commandments. If you find one, it'll be shocking to me. Because there is nothing right or wrong to man than the 10 commandments. That's all that God put in us. When Adam and Eve ate that apple in the garden that day, the 10 commandments were embedded in that apple. We didn't know any good. That's what the apple was called, the knowledge of good and evil. And that's what the 10 commandments are. They're the knowledge of good and evil. And with this current administration that's in, I was getting ready to say, they are a forerunner of the Antichrist. I believe that these things are being orchestrated by the Antichrist. And we're definitely being steadily pushed in the direction of a one world government, and steadily being pushed in the way of something else to take place of our times and our laws. That's why the government's trying to get guns away from people. That's why they're trying to get control of all the money. And that's why they're trying to get in so good with other countries, because they want to combine. They're always talking about it. Some fellow on the radio yesterday talking about combining the United States with Mexico. As long as, I was going to say this, as long as one's serving God and the other one isn't, it's not going to work. The Bible says, be not unequally yoked together. You shouldn't do it in a marriage, and you shouldn't do it with countries. Look how close Israel and the United States is. That's because they both have the same God. And as long as we are in this together, as long as we have the same God, as long as we're holding the same principle, then we'll be strong together. But if we're pulling in two different directions, the only thing we're going to do is fall apart. God bless you. And I have my wife turn my camera off for me, and I'll try to get more of these on instead of concentrating so much on Facebook. But there's a lot of important stuff going on that we need to be a part of as Christians today. So let's get in there and let's fight. And God bless you, and we'll see you next time.